Alright, so we're going to be taking a quick look inside this DELL Latitude 7420. Right, so first thing we're going to do is just remove all the screws from the bottom. Usually I like to work on it with the hinge facing away from me. For me, it's easier to work on them that way. But it's up to you. You don't have to work on it that direction. Anyways, first thing again we're going to do is undo all the screws. It looks like the screws actually hold themselves in place. So yeah, so you don't have to remove the screws. If the screws do come out though, you do want to make sure to keep them in order. So the way I do that is I usually put the flat side of the screw face down on my desk in the pattern I remove them. But again, these screws are holding themselves into the cover, so we don't need to worry about that. Alright, so just undo all these screws. Most likely we're going to be using a suction cup to remove this. Let's see. Alright, so this is the first time opening this model, so let's go ahead and see if we can pull this out with a suction cup. It's holding pretty strong. Let's try from this side. Okay, so what I did was I held down on the hinge here, and then I pulled up here with the suction cup, and as you can see, it's popping open. If you don't have a suction cup, you could probably just pop it open with plastic pry tools or fingernails. So we're going to go along across and see if we can pop up the other clips. It seems like they're pretty strong. Okay, we're going to work our way down here. And it popped out that clip. Okay, sorry, I know I'm going somewhat out of view of the camera. Let's go ahead and go along this side. I would do this side as well, but as you can see, this vent is here, so the suction cup won't work too well. Let's try again from the side. Here you can see it did pop up a clip here, so we're going to keep pulling. Oh, and there we go. Okay, so that came out pretty easily. And then we're going to go ahead and lift it up just like this, and there you go, the cover pops off. So this side has these little pieces here, so you don't want to try and pry up from the bottom. You only want to pry up from the sides and the back here where the hinges are. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. Here you can see what it looks like inside. And it tells you actually to remove the heatsink before removing the motherboard. So I'm not going to take this stuff apart. I'm just kind of showing a quick look inside. Okay, so we do have there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD in here. Alright, so if you want to remove it, there's one screw. It looks crooked, so I don't know if somebody removed this before and put it back wrong. Let me actually see about removing that screw. Again, I'm not going to take things out completely. I kind of just want to see what's going on here. Will it go back down flat? Okay, yes it will. So somebody must have opened this before and messed it up. Alright, I'm just going to make sure everything's tight there. Alright, so anyways, to remove those screws, you have to use a PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver. Okay, there's two screws here. They actually tell you here to remove both two screws, then you can take the bracket out, and then after that you lift the SSD up slightly at an angle from the back, and then you can pull it out. Right, the CPU is soldered to the motherboard. Same thing with the RAM, most likely on the other side. I don't see the RAM memory chips on this side. Okay, you have this cable here for the battery power notification light. Okay, let's see here. I'm not going to take all this stuff out again. Alright, the battery connector, it looks like you just pull straight up on it. Okay, let's see, we'll just pop this up. Actually, maybe I shouldn't. That's pretty tough. Yeah, I don't want to like risk messing it up. It looks like you just pull it straight up and it unclips, but I don't want to risk damaging the computer because the only issue they had was it needed the operating system reinstalled. So I don't want to mess around with that. But from looking at the design, it looks like you would pop it straight up. Again, I don't know if somebody damaged this computer or changed some stuff. They said they bought it used, so yeah, it could be a lot of stuff was removed before. You have this cable, which looks like it runs over to the headphone jack over here. Okay, you got the speakers. Both speakers are connected with the cable running along the bottom here. And then the speaker connects up here. These kinds of connectors, you just grab the wings of the connector with your fingernails or whatever tool, and you just slowly wiggle it, and eventually it will pop out. You don't want to just yank it out, because then you can rip these connectors off, right? You got the fan connector here. There's another flap here which says speaker 2, so I guess on some models they'll have additional speakers and they use the same motherboard. Alright, if you are going to mess with the LCD or LVDS connector, these two connectors, you do want to make sure to remove the battery connector and then press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Okay, the battery model number is right here, type 7FMXV. Alright, hopefully you can read that. So that's the battery model. Most of the time this cable will be removable from the battery, so you will have to transfer this cable, or likely have to transfer this cable over to the new battery. You'll know if you search for the battery model number on like Amazon or something. You'll see if it comes with the cable or not. Okay, so this thing has a lot of other things here that I'm not sure what they're going to. Let me open it up and see if I can tell. Okay, it's turning itself on. Let's turn that back off. Excuse me. So this connector here looks to be for the fingerprint sensor, and it looks like a connector, the one that you kind of just pop it up, kind of like a Lego piece. It just snaps down. There is one screw holding this metal bracket on top. Wireless card is soldered to the motherboard, and then there's two screws holding the antennas in place so that they don't pop off. I think I already said CPU is soldered to the motherboard. There's another connector here. It looks like it says TS, so that's probably for a touchscreen, but this model doesn't have a touchscreen. Alright, again, this is probably the LCD LVDS connector. There's so many connectors here, so I don't know what this super long one is. This one says JSEN1, so it's one of the sensors. And then there's another, this one is probably for like the camera and other sensors as well. Right, the USB-C board is green, so it looks like it's a removable board. It runs underneath the motherboard. I don't know if you can actually see that, but most likely it runs underneath the motherboard and unclicks, like it's probably held in with some pins into a slot, or just the regular connectors that push into place. What else? You got two other connectors here. They didn't really label this. I'm not sure. What is that? JUSH1, so I'm not sure what that is. JKBTP1. Okay, so this is most likely for the keyboard and the touchpad. And then I don't know what this JUSH1 thing is. If anyone knows, feel free to post in the comment section below. Again, I don't want to take out the battery and risk damaging anything, but if you have to remove yours, just let us know what you find out. Alright, there's this connector here. It says JNGFF2. So, I think that's also, this supports another SSD, but it's a shorter one. And you also need a screw for that. They cover the screw hole, so if you put a screw in there, it will break that membrane there, and they'll know that you worked on it. Alright, there's also these two metal pins here. I believe that's a case intrusion thing. So I think it just touches this metal pad here, because it doesn't look like there's anything else there. Does that line up with it right? If that screw is there. Yeah, I think that's for the case intrusion. Alright, so that's pretty much all there is that I see in here to kind of talk about. Alright, yeah, is there anything else that I missed? I think that's pretty much it. On some, I don't know if it came with one. So this has these little clips all around here. I don't know if this is because they use it on different models, but there might be a chance, maybe yours is different and it has a metal plate or metal cover on top. These clips are usually to hold that metal cover on top. If that's the case, you want to get underneath and then you just pry it up, pop it up. I just use my fingernail, or you can use a plastic pry tool. Usually I don't like using plastic pry tools because you won't know. Like, there's these tiny components here, and if you use a plastic pry tool, sometimes you won't feel it, and then you'll end up prying off those little pieces, things like that. So I always like to use my fingernails because I get better feel of what exactly I'm prying up or pulling out. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This cable is most likely one of those where you kind of pull it up with a tab, somewhat similar like this. And there's 2 screws. This kind of connector and this connector are the kinds where you kind of just pull them out this way. Okay, they're just plastic connectors with little pinholes in it, and then the pins are inside this part where the motherboard is. So if you remove those, you want to make sure to pull them straight back, because if you pull them at an angle, it can bend those pins, and then you'll have a tough time plugging the connector back in, and you could actually damage it. Right? But anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and put the cover back on. Alright, so the cover just goes back on like this. You put the bottom here first. Right? Just like this. Alright, and then go ahead and put these screws back in. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. I know I didn't really take out the components or anything, but hopefully if you don't know how, you can watch a few of my other videos. They're usually pretty similar. There are a little few extra like covers and stuff on top, but hopefully you'll be able to figure it out. I do have other videos that show very similar if there is that metal cover on top. So if you watch enough of my videos, you will find one that is pretty much almost exactly like this. But anyways, again, hopefully it helped. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers, so I don't own them. So keep that in mind. By the time you see this video, I most likely won't have this computer to be able to take apart anything or show any other components. And again, because these are customer computers and they expect them repaired within a certain time, I can't just start taking apart all these different components and risk damaging other things. Especially when they come in with a software issue, they would be like confused why there was a hardware issue, and if something happened, I'll be blamed for it. So that's kind of why I don't just go pulling apart everything. All right. So anyways, hopefully it helped, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.